Alright folks, welcome back to another Awaken Chaos Era video, and we have been progressing fairly fast in this account, getting through the game, getting a better understanding of it. So what I wanted to do was to make a list of what I think are the top 5 heroes that are free to play friendly that you guys should be concentrating on first. And like I mentioned in previous videos, this game is like a more free-to-play friendly version of Raid, so it's really much easier on the wallet than that game. And these heroes, to be honest, although they're the top 5 free-to-play, they are just probably some of the top 5 heroes in the game realistically. So without further ado, let's just go through the top 5 heroes you should be concentrating on right away. So the first one's here in the Holy Light Empire, and we're going to the almighty Connor. He's the only elite on the list, and he is insanely good. So he's got B attack, B health, and B for speed, which is pretty good for an elite. He's fire based, and what he does is he's got a trait here that just gives him extra attack. Doesn't really matter. He's got a basic ability here that deals 100% damage to an enemy, but it's got 30% chance to apply defense down. So 30% is not great, but it's an elite. It's a really good ability. He's got a really useful special here. Grants all team members attack up and shield with strength that's increased based on this character's attack for 2 turns. So lots of attack means more shield, and also he'll do more damage. Now the attack up will increase the size of the shield as well. But realistically, what you're using him for is this last ability here, the ultimate. Heals all team members, healing skills with this character's attack. So he's like a healer that can deal a decent amount of damage. He's kind of like a kind of cross in between. So between the attack up here and the attack 20%, and he's got B tier attack, which is good for elite, he can deal some damage and he can put out some heals, and he can sometimes put defense down. So he's a solid ability to start the game with. He's going to get you through loads of content just because there's not a ton of healers in this game. And yeah, really useful hero. The way you get him for free is you go into this very starting screen and you click on Ciara sitting here, and as you can see, all you have to do is clear stage 3-4 of the adventure and clear any stage in No Man's Land 3 times, which is super easy, and you will get this guy for free. Now the only reason I didn't put any more elites in here just now is because he's the only guy, just now anyway, that you can get guaranteed for free. If you're playing free to play, chances are you're going to be able to open up like any elite in the game, so there's loads and loads of good choices. If I was going to name any of them, I would probably say someone like Mary's insanely good, but technically it's not that you're guaranteed to get her, so I've not put her in, but she is a very good elite if you're going to be building elites up. But in terms of guys that you will definitely get for free, Connor comes in at number 5. So at number 4 we have the absolute beast, which is Santis. I think everybody knows who Santis is. If you don't, you should definitely check her out. She is actually one of the heroes that you can synthesize in this game, which is another really useful thing. Now, I've got her coming in at number 4 in this list, so this shows you how good this list actually is. But she is absolutely insane. She's water based. She has tons of poison abilities, so let's have a look through them. Let's have a look at her trait first actually. Attacks against enemies affected by poison have a 50% chance to land an additional poison for 2 turns. And then at the Ascension, this basically applies every single time. So 100%, every time she puts down a poison, she'll place an additional poison for 2 turns, which is absolutely crazy. I don't actually have her ascended yet. I've got her to 4, but she's one of the quicker ones to ascend. Unless you get really lucky, you'll get it really quick. But even if you don't get lucky and open duplicates of her, you can just create more synthesis of her to ascend her, which is pretty cool. Now our basic here deals 80% damage, but applies a poison. So you can see if you've got the Ascension on here, this will hit them and it will put on 2 poisons instead of 1, which is crazy. The special here deals 150% damage to an enemy and duplicates all poison effects affecting them onto another random enemy. So you can spread the poisons about on a bunch of people, because poison could potentially be effective even in things like Arena in this game, so that's pretty interesting ability. Then the ultimate, 120% damage to all enemies, poison on everyone, prolongs the duration of all poison effects on enemies by an extra 1 turn, which is just crazy. But to be honest, once you've got her ascended, once you've got this working, you can just run her without running the ultimate, and just run her with the A1 doing a bunch of 2 loads of poisons every turn, and she's super powerful that way. She's got A tier health and speed, so she's pretty damn fast. She can take a beating, which is exactly what you want. You just want to make sure and run her with plenty focus, and you're going to be doing great with her. So plenty health, plenty speed, plenty focus. Don't worry about attack, crit rate, crit damage, any of that kind of stuff. she's absolutely fine without it. Now to get her, all you have to do is go to the altar up here, go to hero synthesis, and this is all the heroes you can synthesize through the game, and they're not one-offs, you can do it all the time. So as you can see, I've got her here. I've actually got I've got pretty much all the guys I need to do another synthesis, except I'm missing one version of Freya, who I always seem to be missing anyway. So one more of her, I'll send her to the 3-star Ascended, and then I can infuse another one, and that will give her her 5-star Ascension. So coming in at number 3, again, needs no introduction. You guys, if you've followed any videos in this game so far, it's Zatlux. Now, Zatlux is another hero that can be given out, not from the synthesis and that starting screen sort of thing, one of the bonus things. He is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm saying this, he's absolutely crazy. He's the only hero in this list that I haven't actually built up. I got very lucky in my account and I pulled a bunch of really good stuff early on. And to be honest, Zatlux has just been sitting on the back burner for me. And because I got so lucky with the heroes I got, I've actually managed to keep him on the back burner for a while. But he's absolutely crazy, and there's plenty of times I've wished I've actually built him up. I just can't bring myself to do it just now. But anyway, he has a wood base, which is very strong in the game just now because there's a lot of water based heroes to attack. He's got A tier attack, but he's got S tier crit rate and B tier speed. So he's got pretty solid stats here. Let's have a look at his kit. He has this Bloodthirst trait. Upon defeating an enemy, it resets all of this character's cooldowns. Now, if you get the Ascension, it does that, but also grants attack up for 1 turn. That's where it gets a little bit crazy. Now, the A1, it just deals 100% damage and grants speed up. The passive grants 30% crit rate and 30% precision. So he's going to hit a lot because of the precision, he's not going to get dodged. But that 30% crit rate is vital because he's got 10% crit rate basic. So he only needs actually 60% crit rate to hit that 100% crit rate, which is pretty nuts. So it leaves you loads of room to build crit damage, attack, and he's got really strong attack. It's not quite S tier, but it's still very strong attack. He's going to deal a ton of damage because of this. So that almost makes up for him not having S tier attack. And then the ultimate, this is where it goes on. Deals 200% damage to an enemy, plus bonus damage. The fewer the enemies remaining, the higher the bonus damage dealt. If this ability kills the target, then it launches a bonus attack against the enemy with the lowest health. So effectively what you're doing is you want to pick on the weakest hero in the team, kill it, and as soon as you kill him, you're going to get a bonus damage for the next guy. He'll automatically attack the one with the next lowest health, and he'll just go all the way through the team and just blow everybody up. So he's crazy, getting built up 100%, great hero. Now I should also note that in the middle here, if you go to the bottom, this is how you actually get Zatlux. So Zatlux is a case of defeating 200 bosses, battle arena 200 times, which is probably the one that takes the longest for most people. It says here you just battle in arena though, so you don't actually have to win, which is pretty cool. And in arena in this game, you do actually get tokens even if you lose, so you don't just get nothing for losing a bunch of battles, so it's worth just using your 10 up every day to get Zatlux. Then own a 6-star hero, obtain 50 pieces of 5-star gear, which can take a little bit longer early game, and equip gear enchanted to plus 12 in every slot. So that's what you have to do to get Zatlux. Now this next guy here, a few people would probably say that he should maybe be lower down than the previous two in this list, but I don't think so. I personally think Hackground is the best, probably, yeah, he's my favourite hero in the game. I think he's definitely up there with one of the best, if not the best hero in the game, to be honest. The reason he's higher than the previous two, now Santis is a dungeon expert. She's in pretty much all of my dungeon teams, brilliant for that kind of stuff. She can be reasonably good in clan boss, but she does, you know, she doesn't really get used in arena for me. She doesn't get used in endless trials. I don't tend to use her in Doom Tower that much. And then on to Zatlux. Zatlux is brilliant sort of early to mid game, but I've noticed he, you know, from other accounts that I watch and stuff, he drops off a little bit by the time you get to end game, and he's also not useful in every single, you know, scenario. Whereas Hackground, he is like S tier in every part of the game. He's in my arena defense team, he's in my arena offense team. I use him for endless trials, I use him for Doom Tower, I use him for, you know, hard campaign levels that I can't get through. Basically, if I'm in doubt, throw Hackground in and you can't go wrong. So why is he so good? Let's have a look. He's a water-based dwarf. He looks badass. He's got S tier defense and A tier health, so he takes an absolute pasting and he just keeps on trucking. He's got an ability here that grants a team-wide defense bonus. Now it's 10% normally, but 20% when ascended, and he only needs 2-star ascension to hit this. And obviously him being a synthesis hero, you can easily get that 2 stars, which is pretty damn cool. His basic here, it just deals 50% damage, it's not a lot, but it's got an 80% chance to reduce the cooldown of this character's ultimate ability by 1 turn. So effect application chance plus 30%, so I've never quite understood that. I'm assuming that means it's up to 110%, which I have no idea. I guess that's just to get around affinity sort of stuff. 10% damage as well. Now, the special ability actually hits like a truck. If you build this guy right, he's one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game, this actually. So 100% damage to an enemy and applies taunt for 1 turn. Taunt is insanely good, it just means they have to attack him with the basic attack next turn. Damage scales with this character's defense, that's why it hits so hard. Plus 3 10% damage boosts. And then the final ability, 150% damage to a single enemy, grants max health up to all team members, max 3 stacks. If you can get the 3 stacks on here, it's going to be crazy because 15% max health is nuts. And not only that, it's a buff, so it works for people like Natalia and stuff like that. Makes everyone in the whole team super tanky. And all to top it off, he's given everybody a 20% defense boost based on his top line defense, which is absolutely crazy because you can get this guy's nuts. So if you want to build this guy, just build him with as much defense as humanly possible, right as far up as you possibly can. Some health as well is pretty good. You don't need to worry about attack or anything because you don't want either of these abilities to deal any damage really. You can just forget about them. They're just going to tickle the enemies. It's just to put the max health up and reduce abilities there. What you do want to do though is you've got this ability to smack people with the special, so it is worth investing some lot into crit rate and crit damage if you can do it, and potentially focus as well. So there's a lot to think about here. You can kind of go a few ways. You can build them without worrying too much about taunt, because if you get him to hit as hard as I've managed to get him to hit, a lot of the time you don't really need to worry about the taunt because you just wind up one-shotting them anyway. So if I were people, I would probably forget completely about building any focus on this guy, depending on what stage and where you're using him and stuff. But I like to use him as like a tanky guy that keeps my whole team alive and has like this one nuke ability that you can just one-shot people with. So as much crit rate and crit damage as you can, shitloads of defense, and then health and speed are like the kind of the lower power things. If you can get them, great. If you don't have them, it's not the end of the world. So here you can go in the synthesis, right below Santis is Hackground. So it's just rares that you'll generally pick up from playing anyway. So at some point you will collect enough of these to fuse this guy. So he's definitely free to play friendly. You can get him and you can ascend him easy enough through the synthesis here. Now for the number 1 hero that is free to play friendly in this game, it's just, there's only one. There's actually 3 legendary heroes in the synthesis there, and none of them are better than any of the heroes that I've shown you up to date. Well, maybe definitely better than Connor, but Connor's elite, so it's different. Best one you can possibly get is here, and funnily enough, I don't actually have her here. So although this is free to play friendly, a little caveat, this one will take you quite a little while to get. But it's almost like, if any of you guys played Raid, this is what I look at as Arbiter from Raid. Now, Arbiter is much harder to get than Ciara, don't get me wrong. Well, maybe not much. I don't know how hard clearing Void Tower and Hard is going to be. But it's not as much to do, at least. There was a hell of a lot of stuff to do in Raid to get Arbiter. And yeah, some of it got pretty hard near the end, trying to get to Gold 4 and things like that. But yeah, Ciara is nuts. Now, I actually pulled Ciara already, so that's the reason I'm able to give a pretty good lowdown on her. So you will get her from here. You've got to clear the Void Tower and Hard, complete all bounty stages, own 4 water heroes at max, 50 pieces of legendary gear, and auto clear the Tulpa dungeons. So those 3 are relatively easy. The bounty stages are getting pretty difficult, so it's these 2 here that are definitely the hardest 2, I would say. So here she is in the Soul Plunders. She is a water-based hero again. She has S tier attack, one of the highest in the game, absolute beast, and A tier crit rate. So she is a damage dealer 100%. Let's look at her kit. So her trait here grants 1 Vengeful Spirit, max 6 stats upon defeating of an enemy, and the Ascension grants a stronger version of it in Vengeful Spirit 2, plus 8% stackable. So you can, if you kill someone, you're just going to start stacking all this crazy amount of attack, and then you're just going to blow everybody up. So there's quite a few heroes like this in this game. They kind of just slowly get better and stronger the longer they're played with. The basic attack applies a focus boost on self, then deals 100% damage to one enemy and applies increased damage taken for 1 turn. Now for me, this is actually one of the best abilities in the game, just this basic ability. Not only because, well, it can deal some good damage because of her attack bonuses and stuff, but she doesn't need to worry about focus. Normally, when you've got something that lands like a really good debuff on an attacker like this, you're always kind of swayed because you don't really want to pile too much focus into a hero like this. But she actually puts a focus boost on herself, then deals the damage. So you don't have to worry about putting too much focus on her. She's just going to do it herself. And 30% damage taken is so strong in this game because it can stockpile on top of defense down. You know, before defense down is just there and you can't put another one on top of that, it doesn't stack. But you can put defense down and then put increased damage taken down as well on, say, a boss or like a tanky hero in arena, and they're just going to take way too much damage and they're going to die. Now we do have a passive here. Whenever this enemy's health is under 50%, deal 100% damage to all enemies. Can only be triggered once every 2 rounds. This is crazy with this ultimate. So this expends all the Vengeful Spirits. So it's good to see here, Vengeful Spirit is a 5%, whereas Vengeful Spirit 2 is plus 8% attack. Expends all Vengeful Spirits and deals 200% damage to an enemy. It deals plus 20% damage per Vengeful Spirit expended. So the first time she does this, it's gonna deal. It still does a lot of damage. Don't get me wrong, a hell of a lot of damage. But if you can get some Vengeful Spirits on and hit with this thing, it's gonna blow everybody up. And the good thing is at the start, if it doesn't blow everyone up, it's definitely going to do enough to trigger this ability. It's going to get one hero under 50%, and then you're just going to do another 100% damage to everyone. So yeah, that's Ciara. I definitely think one of the best heroes in the game, and by far the best free-to-play option that you can get. Granted, it's going to take you a little while. Now, there is one honourable mention I want to say in here, and to be honest, it's a funny one. I wanted to put this in the top 5, but I didn't. Now, the reason I didn't, I mean, technically, this hero is probably better than all of these heroes, and she's actually much easier to get than all of these heroes put together. But technically, she's not free-to-play friendly, because it's not like you're guaranteed her. The reason is, let's go into her, it's Mathesia. Now, Mathesia is probably my most used hero in the game. She's absolutely crazy. She's the only hero in the game that has a revive. That is why she is so good. Now, she is actually one of the original 7 heroes that you can pick at the start as a free legendary. Now, that is free-to-play friendly, but it's only free-to-play friendly if you know about this video or other videos that have told you this before you start the game. Because when I started the game, I chose Balbrith, who is not as good as Mathesia. Granted, I was very lucky to pull 2 copies of her, so I was able to send her once, but if I'd known, I 100% would have picked her. So technically she is the best hero free to play, but you need to know beforehand. If you've already, you know, picked your hero and played for a little bit and you don't want to just re-roll your account, you know, a lot of people don't. You put a lot of time and effort into it, maybe spend a few bucks here and there, then you realise, oh shit, I could have got Mathesia right away. You're not just going to want to restart, you're just going to keep playing. That's what I did anyway. If by any chance you've started your account, you're like a day or 2 in, you don't have anyone groundbreaking, you know, you've not opened like an Imogen or a Evelyn First Dawn or any of the really crazy heroes in the game, and yeah, I would 100% consider re-rolling enough times just so you can get Mathesia, because she is by far the best starting hero pick. She'll get you through loads of different content, great for dungeons, great for arena, great for campaign, just great for everything. Yeah, so the pseudo best champion for free to play in the game is Mathesia, but realistically it is Ciara that is the best. So that is the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions of people that I left out of here, please leave in the comments. I know there's a couple more that potentially could have been quite cool. I have looked about in the synthesis and played about with Vance a little bit. He's actually pretty interesting, but I think he's a bit too situational just now anyway. And I know obviously Siren, she's very good as well, but I only wanted to put the one legendary in here because it is free to play, and Ciara is probably easier to get, I would say, for free to play than having to fuse all these guys and then put it into Siren. So yeah, that's the reason I chose her. And also Ciara is just a better hero in my opinion, one of the best in the game. So that's it guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe as usual, and have a great day guys. Peace.